Hello, Sports fan. This is Stephen here for Sports Choice Plus. I'm bringing you a very special breakdown. I'm going to be covering the Cincinnati Bengals are just cheap. Before I get right into that, I want to make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel so I can get all the updates and all the breakdowns. Without further ado, let's get right into it. The Cincinnati Bengals have been owned by Mike Brown, from my understanding, from the beginning of time to now. When you think of so much of what Mike Brown has done, it's been a family business. It's been ever since I've been alive, essentially. The Bengals ownership group has been, for the most part, solid as far as solidarity, as far as the way that they run things, the way that they do things. They were on Hard Knocks, and this was when I was in high school. I remember vividly watching Hard Knocks and seeing Mike Brown talk about finances, how he wasn't going to hire all these staff, and he essentially had his daughter or daughter-in-law being one of the general managers and running things, and they had a small-knit group of family running everything, day-to-day operations, trades, cuts, everything that they did for the NFL. So when I hear about how T. Higgins is essentially being held up because they're not going to pay him what he's worth, and also Jamar Chase, and you think about this from the standpoint, Trey Hendrickson, their best defensive end, their best defensive piece, has essentially requested a trade. You got to ask yourself, if you're Joe Burrow, how much more of this can you take? You want to be the loyal hometown guy. You want to be the loyal guy that sticks with the NFL franchise. But how much more do you have to watch your counterparts on other teams make requests to get wide receivers, make requests to get defense, make requests to do all these other things, and the ownership group goes after and signs key set free agent, or they sign set wide receiver, or they sign set running back, or they sign set offensive guard or tackle. They go out and appease the things that the wide receivers need or the quarterback needs, and they make the team better. With Cincy, it feels like when you have somebody that has talent, they're either going to stand them up, trade them out, or either have them wait to the last minute to where they're pissed off and they don't want to play for the organization no more. Teams are watching how Cincy is nickel and diming their players and not wanting to pay them essentially what they're worth. T. Higgins wanted nothing more. I'll sign this franchise deal. Let me go and play for another team if y'all are not going to pay me. There's no flexibility in these franchise deals. If he gets hurt, that's it. He doesn't get another contract like that. So from the standpoint, Joe Burrow has essentially spoken out and he says, I want Jamar Chase here long term. I want T. Higgins here long term. And what does Cincy say? They stand up essentially Jamar Chase during the season last year. He says that they promised him to sign him to an extension in season. They don't do that. They don't hold up their end of the bargain. They talk to T. Higgins and say, we're going to try to get you signed. He's still not signed. They franchise tagged him. At what point does Joe Burrow have to say, you know what? Mike Brown, you're cheap. From the way that you run the building to the players having to pay for their own food. It's a number of things that have come out about Cincy that as an NFL team, no other NFL teams are doing. So from the standpoint, you almost have to pay for your meals at the stadium. You have to pay for parking, do all these other things. And the Bengals are nickel and diming their players for every little thing. And you got to ask yourself, since Jamar Chase, since T. Higgins, and since Joe Burrow have come into the league, what have they done for the franchise? They've bettered the valuation of the Bengals. Every year, their value in the franchise goes up, millions and millions of dollars. They have the Bengals essentially, no matter if the defense is working or not, those three have the guys in a position to be in the playoffs every single year. So you got to ask yourself, how special is Joe Burrow if he looks over and sees Josh Allen getting weapons? He sees Patrick Mahomes getting weapons. He sees Lamar Jackson getting weapons. He sees Jalen Hurts getting weapons. But he's asking for things just for a defense that can be respectable. Just for some cornerbacks that actually cover. For linebackers that actually play linebacker. For defensive ends that can actually tackle people. That's what he's asking for. So with that being said, we have to understand that when the rubber meets the road, it's either Mike Brown's going to pay people or he's not. Essentially, we could see the Bengals broken up because of them not paying. That doesn't bode well for the NFL. But when it's all said and done, we have to understand that the Bengals may just be a cheap franchise. To my knowledge, there's no other business that Mr. Mike Brown has. This is his legacy. This is his business. It'd be different if it would be a Jerry Jones and you had car dealerships and you had other business ventures that bring in money. It'd be different if it was the Patriots and Bob Kraft had didn't have Kraft and didn't have all these outside entities. It'd be different if it was the Atlanta Falcons and Arthur Blank didn't have Home Depot and Coca-Cola and all these other different franchises and things like this. It'll be different. But essentially what we have to understand is the NFL is a business. And yes, Joe Burrow may want something, but at this point, if he's not going to give up his money for them to make money, he's probably going to have to suffer through it. So all you Bengals fans, get in the comment section below. All you NFL fans as well, definitely check out Sports Choice Plus, and we'll see you on the very next episode.